Good evening, Tuesday night, people. Last month I promised you Linux, hosting, web dev, networks, and boring stuff. And keeping to my Oh, okay. Well, we are doing those things, but they're boring stuff. You don't want to see Linux, you don't see my web hosts and the server farm. That's nonsense. So instead, I'm going to show you something that we have powering with all of these servers. Back in May, I showed off NBNget and used it to install CPM. Well, since then, it's had some rather fundamental work done upon it, and I'm going to show it to you again. This is hosted on our server farm, where all of that Linux and everything is, but slightly more interesting than showing you that Linux config file, NBNget, automatable with basic. So here, a super duper script. And here's a path file. This path file is a ZXDB path file. So if you're browsing ZXDB, or you have access to ZXDB, or using ZXinfo.dk, or Remy's mirror of ZXDB, or any of the other ways that you can look at ZXDB, and you see a path beginning with pub Sinclair, that path refers to files hosted on archive.org. That mirror is now hosted on our own network internally, and you'll be able to use the NBNget tools straight with the paths as from the DB to download files directly. Here is that running. Super duper simple. And, as you just saw, super duper quick. That was nearly 7K of data. It's that straightforward and simple to use. I will show you something slightly more complicated with a little bit of automation. A lot of the files in the archive.org ZXDB mirror are zipped. So here you can see an example of it automatically downloading a file, unzipping it, mounting the file from the file, switching to the emulated tape system and loading the tape. And we'll just run it. As I said, all the paths are the same as the paths from the ZXDB database. And it's already unzipping. And it takes longer to unzip than it does to download, as you saw. We don't really care about that, but it works. So if the file is on ZXDB, it begins with pub Sinclair, you can download it with NBNget. Let's do one more slightly complicated demo for this very quick video this evening. Oops, I loaded the wrong thing, because I'm not paying attention. Silly boy. Let's go with mounts. This is my complicated demo. Here you can see I've got the path wrong on purpose. Oh, definitely wrong on purpose now. But I'll explain what the script does. The script downloads the file, unzips the file, and then uses the basic system from mounting disks to put the disk in the A drive. Bad file error. Well, of course it's a bad file error. This path is wrong. So let's correct our path and run it again. So once it's downloaded the file, there we go, 160K. Now this zip file contains both sides of the taskwork disk, so that's 240K files, I think it is. So quite chunky, and that's why it's zipped. Once it's downloaded, it will extract the zip file, mount the drive, change to the drive, and load taskwork. As you'll see here, it actually takes a little bit longer to unzip than download as before, just because the nature of our Z80 and an SD card versus the wireless, which is running at 115K 200. So it's all downloaded. It did a check if the disk was defragmented, mounted the disk, and then loaded taskwork for me. And I can't type, as you know, but this is taskwork 3, as we remember. I hope you did all your homework back on taskwork 3 back in the day like a good boy. That's why you got a Spectrum after all, wasn't it? That's what you told your parents. So one last bit. So that, and all the files exist on the SD card, and they're now here to be used at my heart's content, as I would do normally. I'm just gonna, and here we go, see? The discs, all downloaded from, I just tried to open a file from a DSK with Evil, and Evil doesn't support DSK files. Well remembered, D. So that's it, NBNget. Super easy to automate, super easy to use. If you've got a path from ZXDB that begins with pub Sinclair, you can use this tool to download it. One last thing, if you don't have a path from ZXDB's download, you might be wondering what to download. NBN Shell will be for you. Oh look. We have more plans too, as you can see. This tool, as you can also see, is not quite there yet. I'm still working on this one. This is one of the things we are still working on. This is not going to be available for download this week. This will be available for download, hopefully, next week. And I'll come back to this tool next week and show you it properly. But You get the idea. 3 pages of data, pagination, lots of things, but you are browsing the live repository. This isn't finished. This has got a couple of bugs, as you saw, so I'm not making this available today. But the server that allows you to download files is written in Node.js and is GPL licensed and is on GitHub. NBNget, I rewrote it to use a bunch of helper utilities and a bunch of C functions that you'll be able to use in your own code if you need access to the serial port, if you need access to the network interface, or even if you want access to the NBN servers. These are nice helpers that you can use to implement these functions in your own apps, or use the dot commands to access these things right from BASIC. And that's it. A very quick overview while we do all of the boring things. Sorry, the not boring things. I mean the boring things. I mean the not boring things. Anyway, you get the picture. Thank you for watching, lovely Tuesday night people. Super quick one this week while we do lots of back-end stuff, but hopefully you're interested in what you just saw, and hopefully you can see how this server work is going to make the next even better and bigger and more awesomer, using the power of the internet to offset the power of all of Gary's hard work in the operating system. Thank you very much, Tuesday night people, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Goodbye. Mwah!